It's Monday morning and I finished 7 days of the sugar diet. As you saw yesterday, my last meal was very high in protein. I had those 2 chicken patties, the scallops, and the egg whites. So quite a bit of volume of food. So if I had to guess, I probably went up in weight only because I didn't have protein for 3 days. And then yesterday I really had a lot of protein. Food has weight. So I wouldn't be surprised if I actually went up, but let's jump on the scale and let's see. Oh yeah, so I did go up. Looks like I went up 1 pound and 3 ounces. Yeah, wasn't surprised. I think yesterday I was 185.3, today 186.6. So that was expected. Not happy about it, gaining over a pound, but food has weight. So that makes sense why I went up. And this is why I weigh myself every single day. You got to use the scale as a tool to take certain things out if the scale starts going up. So maybe today I'm going to back off a little bit on the protein and see if we can get that scale to go back down the other way again. So we'll see how that goes today. I'm still going to do the sugar fast because my ultimate goal is to get to 180. So now I'm a little behind. I thought I was only like 5 pounds away. Now I'm 6 pounds away. So we'll just go ahead and I'm going to really monitor my protein intake. I'm going to keep the starch out, keep everything low fat, and we'll see if we can get that scale to get to 180 by the end of the week. All right, so it's about 8:30, first meal. Going to have this huge fruit smoothie with sugar and put some fruit juice in there like I did yesterday with the blackberry lemonade. It's very, very good. Going to be going to the gym, but first I got to drop off my kids, so I'm going to be sipping on this, and I'll probably bring some orange juice with me just for the potassium so I don't get the cramps, because I've kind of experienced that. There's been a lot of talk about like muscle loss on this diet, and you know, I do agree that you need essential amino acids for the rebuilding of muscle, but what I've kind of been looking into is like, how could I at least preserve muscle? So basically, when you're on a very high carbohydrate diet, like with these sugars and everything, that could be muscle sparing because you're increasing so much calories from the sugars. Plus you have the energy to do 5 days a week of resistance training. That's the other thing. As long as you're putting stimulus on the muscle and you're keeping your carbohydrates very high, I'm not saying you can, build muscle with no protein. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you just got to figure out for you how much protein your body needs based on lean body mass. Not what your current weight is, it's lean body mass. So since I'm around that 185, 186, my lean body mass, assuming that my body fat's like in that 10 to 15% range, which it definitely is within that range, I could probably get away with, 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. It's around 0.7 to 1 gram, but I could probably go as low as 0.6 grams per pound of lean body mass. So for me, if my body fat is around that 10 to 15%, which I know it is, I could get away with 100 to 130 grams of protein. And that's not a lot of protein to preserve muscle. Also, it's not like I'm going without protein every single day. Like I'll have my sugar fast days and then I'll have my protein days. It's not like I'm gonna go without protein for weeks and weeks and weeks. Yes, you go sugar fasting for that long, weeks and weeks, you're gonna have noticeable muscle loss. But if you're having 2 or 3 days of sugar fast and then the rest of the week you're backloading with protein, keeping to around that 0.6 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound or lean body mass, you're going to be just fine. Okay, this is not something I'm doing long term. I don't think you have nothing to fear. I think most people that are doing this diet just want to get the weight off. They want to lose a lot of weight. So you can only really focus on one thing at a time. You either want to build muscle or you want to drop fat. It's one or the other. And at the very best case scenario, while you're losing fat, preserving the muscle. Like you don't want to lose muscle. I do agree. You want to keep muscle on your frame because the more muscle you have, the more calories that your body's going to burn at rest. So my focus at this point is not to build muscle, but I want to preserve it while dropping to 180 pounds. I'm at 186 like you just saw me. I'm almost there. That's not a significant amount of weight that I need to lose where I'm going to be seeing this crazy amounts of muscle that I'm losing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drink this down and head to the gym. And we'll see what I'm gonna eat the rest of the day. All right, so my wife and I just got back from the gym, and unfortunately I wasn't able to film it because I did something I don't normally do. I totally forgot to bring my phone. So I filmed these videos on my phone, totally forgot the phone, and but we're back from the gym and had to go back to Costco and get some more fruit. So I ran out of fruit. So I want to share with you guys the kind of fruit that I'm going to be eating. This was actually a great deal. I mean, if you can go have a Costco or a Sam's or whatever, buy this stuff in bulk, especially if you're going to be eating a lot of smoothies or drinking a lot of smoothies, and also fruit juice. Now, if you've noticed the clip before this, when I had my blueberry shake, you probably noticed I didn't seem as, I guess, energetic and motivated like I usually am. And there's a reason for that. And by the way, yeah, my wife, she's making her protein fat meal, so I can't have that. We're sticking to the sugar fast. She's not doing it. She's doing her eggs and all that. So anyway, I think it was a cascade of things this weekend. I'm starting to experience some things I didn't experience last week. So there were 3 things that happened this week that I think is caused me to really feel my energies just tanked today. And it's because of 3 things, all right? Number 1, what I'm discovering is that this is a diet where you are not supposed to be eating in a calorie deficit. That is not the purpose of this diet. You're supposed to eat as much as you want so you can raise your metabolic rate. I think that's one mistake that I'm making is I'm just not getting in enough calories. So that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is I felt energetic all week, and on my Saturday workout, I was so energetic that I actually did extra in the gym, and I felt great. Okay, yesterday I was off from the gym, so I didn't feel sore or anything until I stepped into the gym. Today, I started, I trained my lats, so I did some lat pull downs. I worked on chest, shoulders, quads, and hams. I do more of a full body workout. And like I said, I did not feel sore this weekend until I started working out today. I was like, ooh, man, my lats feel like, wow, I can actually feel some soreness. Oh man, my pecs feel a little sore. My quads. And I'm telling you guys, I had a really hard time getting through the workout today. So I say all that to say, just because you have the extra energy and you can go longer in the gym doesn't mean you should. And the reason for that, it's important to get into the gym. You're tearing down that muscle, but what do you do when you go home? You want to go home and recover. That's going to be way more important than actually adding that stimulus to the muscle, getting a good workout in. Because if you're not recovering properly, you're not going to get the result that you want. Recovery is so vital. So that's the second thing I noticed is I probably overdid it on Saturday. So that was mistake number 2. And then the other one really wasn't a mistake, but I lost sleep last night. I couldn't sleep. My wife actually woke up and thought she saw a snake, and she was hitting my back. So because of that, I was in a deep sleep. I woke right up and the adrenaline just shot through the roof, and I just could not go back to sleep after that. So you got those combinations. I've been eating low calorie, this is not the purpose of doing this diet. All right. I trained a little too hard in the gym because I had all the extra energy. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to my workout because recovery to me is much more important than just like hammering it all the time. That's not what you want to do all the time. And then I just really need to focus on getting better sleep. So those 3 things are essentially the mistakes I made toward the end of the weekend. Now let's talk about this fruit real quick because I got to tell you, this was a great deal. So I bought this before. This is like a 3 blend. And I think this is like 4 pounds for $10. Or I think it was like $10.99, $11. All right. I think this one was $13 for, these are blueberries, wild, 5 pounds. All right. That's pretty good. And then I saw this one. This, good to switch it up, right? We can't keep doing berries all the time. This one was a festival blend. Same thing, $11 for this big old bag. 5 pounds, guys. This had mango, papaya, strawberries, and pineapple. So the sugar content is going to be really high on this. And obviously I need some fruit juice. So I saw this for like $7.99. Sometimes just one of these is $7.99. And this was a, let's see, a organic strawberry lemonade. And I think the grams of sugar on this one was really, really high. 31 grams. Yeah, 31 grams of sugar. So a lot of sugar in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a smoothie like I did earlier, but we're probably going to do some different fruits because I want to up that sugar. And we'll see how it goes. And hopefully my energy starts to come back and we can keep losing weight. All right, so stay tuned. Meal number 2. Oh man, that's a nice change from the all berries that I was doing. So what I'm going to do this week is something different. I tracked all my calories last week and I noticed I was kind of like in that maintenance mode since coming off a keto carnivore. So what I'm going to do this time, I think I went over my calories maybe 1 or 2 days last week and I was a little nervous because I thought I was going to gain weight, but I didn't. So this week, I'm not even going to track it. I'm just going to eat when I'm hungry. I'm going to eat intuitively. I'm going to eat when I'm hungry. And I'm going to try to eat as much as I want until I feel full and satisfied. And I think that's what's going to help me get over my calories. Yeah, I know I'm not tracking it. There's no way of knowing. But I'm going to be more conscious of just making sure that I'm eating more. And if you have any suggestions, put it in the comments. I know... I think it's Cole. You talked about eating a bunch of jam. That's going to raise up the calories. Honey, maple syrup, things like that. Maybe I could add to my shakes. And I don't really want to overdo it on the candy, but I mean that's like extra stuff, and really the candy isn't like a whole lot of calories. But anyway, if you got suggestions, put it in the comments. I'm not sure what my meal is going to look like toward the end of the day. I don't know if I want to keep the protein in there or not. I'll kind of just see how things go, and we'll move on from there. So I've been thinking a lot about this hybrid thing that a lot of people are talking about in the comments, and I mentioned it too about combining kind of like these two diets, like the sugar diet with some type of keto carnivore approach at night. And what I'm finding out is just from kind of watching different videos and kind of researching things, your body gets fuel from 2 different sources. It's going to get fuel from fat, or it's going to get fuel from sugars. And this is called the Randall cycle. So in the absence of sugar, your body's going to produce these ketones. You're going to get energy from the ketones in the fat that's on your body. However, if you're doing like an all sugar diet and keeping the fats really low, then your body's going to get energy from sugars. So I don't think it's a good idea to be running off of sugars all morning and all afternoon and then try to switch it up and add fat at night. From what I understand is that you want to eat lean proteins at night if you're doing the sugar diet, or sugar fast as they're calling it. Basically, sugar fast just simply means instead of doing a full water fast, you're doing a sugar fast by drinking a bunch of juice and fruits and sucrose, fructose, all that kind of stuff. So, but what I think would be a better approach is that from just, watching different videos, especially from Cole Robinson, is that once you get lean, then you may only need to do a sugar fast once or twice a week and then just eat whatever you want during the week. And you use the sugar fast as a way to control the scale. So if you notice the scale going up by your normal diet, then instead of doing a whole water fast to get the weight off of the scale, you've got something to look forward to. You can actually do what's called a sugar fast. So that to me would make a lot more sense. What he's saying is that, because let's face it, it sucks trying to do a water fast after maybe you've blown your diet. That kind of sucks. So if you blow your diet, then you can kind of use a sugar fast to get back on track and get that scale to go down. So honestly, I know I was kind of toying with the idea of doing a hybrid, run off of sugars, in the morning and the afternoon, and then have like a keto carnivore meal at night. I don't think that's going to work really well because you've been running off of energy all day. You've got all this energy from sugar, and then you're going to eat a bunch of fat at night. I think that's actually going to make you tired. Because again, you can't really put that all in the same day. However, you can put it in the same week. That's what I'm thinking, is that you can put it in the same week once you get lean though. So once you reach your goal, once you get lean, you can pretty much do 1 to 2 days of sugar fasting and then just eat whatever you want the other 4 or 5 days. And that would be a better way, I think, to combine it. I hope that makes sense. I have had a lot of shakes today, but I'm absolutely loving the shakes. I think it's a little bit better to do these shakes than just to pound a bunch of like fruit juices and all that. So the shake I'm going to make today, I've got this 3 blend. I think this is going to be really good. Last time I put this blackberry lemonade in it. All right, that made it even better. And because we're getting toward the end of the day, I'm going to start adding some protein. Not a whole lot of protein in this yogurt. It's only like 15 grams. I'm going to be throwing this in my shake. And then I'll probably have some type of egg whites and scallops. I'm definitely going to do that. The one thing I have not done today, I noticed, and I guess I just forgot, is just putting some extra sugar in my shakes. I haven't been doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I was watching an interesting video on Mark Bell's channel, Mark Smelly Bell. He had Stan Efferding on his channel. He's the one that created the vertical diet. And one thing that he mentioned, and I know why they mentioned it, was because Mark's been getting a lot of comments as well on his channel about this whole muscle loss thing. Like, hey, aren't you going to lose muscle if you're not getting adequate amount of protein? So Stan Efferding basically said, I think there was another researcher, Stu Phillips, I think is the name that he mentioned, where they said that what's more important for preserving and building muscle is not protein. It's creating enough stimulus on the muscle. That is more important than protein, which kind of makes sense because you could take a guy who doesn't work out at all, and just because he's going to be getting a whole bunch of protein, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be building muscle. You got to create some type of stimulus. That's the only way you're going to actually build muscle. And according to this researcher, Stu Phillips, it's more important to create stimulus on the muscle than adequate amount of protein. So that kind of answers that question. I know I've been getting a lot of comments on, aren't you going to lose muscle if you're not getting enough protein? And you don't need as much protein as you think. I think the required amount, they always used to say 1 gram per 1 pound of body weight, but you can actually go much lower than that. It's more like that 0.7 grams per pound of lean body mass. That's really all you need. So I'm gonna make the shake. We're gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna throw some yogurt in there, some table sugar. The other thing I kind of had with one of my shakes in the afternoon is these gold bears, so like these gummy bears for the extra sugar. I think that's going to be about it. I did buy, hold on, actually I did buy something else too. I had this last time. It was this sorbetto Talenti. It's not really an ice cream. It's more of a dairy-free sorbetto. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, this was like back in the 80s, where there was called Polar Cup. It was basically tasted like this, like lemon, like frosty type of thing, and it was called Polar Cup, and they would go around the neighborhood and all the kids, kind of like modern day ice cream truck today, but this was called Polar Cup, and all they sold was like these lemon like Slurpees. This kind of reminded me that this has so much sugar in it. I mean, the calories aren't too high. I think it's going to be about, if I did this correctly, it's about 418 calories for this whole thing. But if you like lemon, this is really tart, but man, it is really, really sweet as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this shake, add the extra protein in there for this yogurt, and then probably within an hour, I'll probably make some egg whites and scallops. So we're gonna go ahead and make this, and it's gonna go down the hatch. Something else that I found was pretty interesting from that video that Mark is doing with Stan Efferding is they talked about how much fat do you really need in the diet in order to have proper hormone function. And apparently there's been research done on that as well. And man, is it a lot lower than you think. I think what they said is about 20 grams. So if you're staying within like 20, 40 grams, that's all you really need for proper hormone function. So this sugar diet, this way of eating seems to be pretty promising. You don't need as much protein as you think for preserving muscle, because we just stated that, you know, all you have to do is provide enough stimulus on the muscle through resistance training. That's what's more important than protein. And then you don't need as much fat for proper hormone production. So the only macronutrient that's left is the carbohydrates, the sugar, which we all know you either can get energy from sugars or you can get energy from fat, but you can't really mix the two. It's either one or the other. Like we just discussed, the Randall cycle, you're either going to run off of one or the other. So that's pretty interesting. So what I'm kind of, I guess the common conclusion that I'm coming to is, you know, we don't need as much protein as we think. We don't need as much fat as we think. So this diet could do really great wonders for people who are trying to lose a lot of weight and just be more healthy. Now, I will say I would use it as a tool, not a long-term strategy. All right, and there's been a lot of things in research that's been done about this, where a lot of the things that we used to think that were true are coming out now that it's not as true as was once thought. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to down this shake. And again, like I said, I'm going to be making some, I think, scallops and egg whites for the protein, and we're going to end the day. And I'm really curious to see what I'll weigh on the scale tomorrow, because I did go up this morning since I had all that protein last night. And that's going to be it. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, I'll see you tomorrow.